Hello, Moon is in Gemini. This is a lot smoother of a couple days for today and for tomorrow and the first part of the day after than we've experienced for the last couple days. So basically, for the rest of the work week, this week is going to be a lot smoother. We're going into the waxing gibbous moon phase. So the moon and the sun are both helping each other out to focus on whatever it is that is on our minds effectively, to communicate effectively. We have Mars and Venus conjunct in Capricorn, so this is giving us a lot of passion to get stuff going, to be ambitious, to power through our obstacles, to climb our mountain. And indeed, I think that's something that's good to keep in mind is we still have Sun and Saturn conjunct. They're not directly conjunct, it's easing away as time goes on, but they are conjunct, so there is a sense of being patient with pressure, running a marathon. Saturn is always about running a marathon rather than sprinting, whereas Mars is more about sprinting. So Mars being conjunct Venus can get us a little excited. We need to calm ourselves down a bit. If we're getting too competitive or too caught up and trying to move forward right now, we do need to keep that in mind, that we're looking at the long term of life, and we need to keep in mind those long-term pressures, because we can't get everything done now, even though if we would very much like to. So it's good to just check in wherever you're at, do your best. I heard an amazing quote that I want to share with I love Masterclass. It's such an incredible website. I've been a subscriber for about 5 years now, and I just heard I did Robin Arson's Masterclass last fall, I think, or maybe even earlier, maybe it was about a year ago. And I love that class, and I just heard her one on empathy today, her video. And she basically said, start before you're ready. It's never the right time to be uncomfortable. And I love that. And I think that applies so much for where we are right now, where we just need to make the best of where we are. That's what Mars and Capricorn is all about. And I think everybody's going to be holding themselves to some really high expectations at this time. I think that's important to do in a positive sense instead of a negative sense, because we still have not only Saturn conjunct Sun, albeit it's moving away, but we have another reason to be patient, because Mercury is still in the post-retrograde shadow period until February 23rd. As I've been saying since the end of January, the first 2 weeks of February are a little bit slow going, where we have our momentum, we have our motivation, but we're not quite on the path at full force yet. And we're really looking at later February. The momentum is just going to continue to grow. It doesn't matter when we're going to have full force, but we're moving in that direction. So that's important to keep in mind, because I think with Mercury in Capricorn, as well as Mars in Capricorn, those combined, they can be really hard on ourselves. I've had to remind myself of, stop, you're where you need to be. I know you wanted to be at that point, but you just went through a Mercury retrograde shadow period. You just went through a Venus retrograde shadow period. You know, this is true for all of us, of course. And you've made good progress. You've made the best of it. And those energies were more about kind of taking stock of where you were. It wasn't quite easy to move forward. So I think all of us need to be really gentle with ourselves at this time, while still making sure that we put ourselves into the action and do the best that we can for wherever we are. That's really important. This is a really funny thing. This is another example of this, where again, just making we might have all these grand plans and visions for the future, and that's beautiful. That's important, especially during this time with all of these different transits, especially with the Sun and Saturn and Aquarius transit, as we've been talking about, focusing on the long-term future. But the progress really needs to be behind the scenes. It needs to be focused on here and now, making the best of it. And again, this is really funny, but this has totally worked for me for this last week. I really do love working out, but it's lower on my priority list than my mental and my emotional growth, my spiritual growth. And so it can be very difficult for me to carve out a whole half hour even, or a whole hour to devote to it. So honestly, again, this is, I think, a perfect example, and it works to be able to to be able to make the best where you are. Is just, I've been doing 50 reps of whatever, squats or biceps or sit-ups or whatever, whenever I go pee, and I drink water all the time. So it's really working. I'm actually seeing a lot of progress, and I'm working out way more than I usually do. And I think that's the key, is have the long-term vision. Saturn's conjunct Sun in Aquarius. Mercury will be back in Aquarius on Valentine's Day. We had Mercury in Aquarius earlier in January. So we've been focused on the long-term vision, right? But how do we make the future actually become a reality? We have to be working with the present to the best of our ability. And again, I love Robin's quote. That's going to stick with me for life, where just start before you're ready. I mean, obviously there's a certain adequate phase of preparation and whatnot. You don't want to like be haphazard with it. That's not what she means. But what she means is just get to it. There's no need to like, okay, I gotta get everything. I gotta prepare to be able to then do the work and then prepare. You know, it's like just do it. Just do it. That simple. And if you can only do that much that day, then at least you do that much that day, and then that will build. The momentum will build as time goes on. And again, especially throughout the rest of this month, I think that's a great thing to look forward to. I think one last thing. Moon is in Gemini, as we talked about. And the only really difficult aspect that it'll have for today, for what is today? Wednesday, and for the next couple days as well, is it's square transiting Jupiter in Pisces for Wednesday, and then it's square Neptune in Pisces. Also Jupiter for Thursday, but especially later Thursday, it'll be more succinctly square Neptune in Pisces. So what does this mean? I think the big challenge is overthinking when it comes to faith, when it comes to spirituality. We have a lot of logical energies out there right now, all the Capricorn, all the Aquarius, Earth, Air. Moon is now in Gemini, Air, and that, again, it's well supported in a lot of ways. It's good to be thinking about what we're seeking to accomplish and to make progress, to communicate, etc. But as I said with the last couple of videos, faith is essential. Jupiter and Neptune are in Pisces. Emotions are essential. Let's not get too caught up in our minds and what we're seeking to accomplish and what we're trying to inspire other people to accomplish or to collaborate with, etc. That we're missing the bigger picture of life, the more emotional, the more spiritual. And I think especially when it comes to our personal goals and progress, we want to make sure that fuel for PP reps. I call them PP reps whenever I go work out. When I pee, I love it. Well, not when I pee, after. Okay, anyways, but what was I saying? It was something important and profound. I thought it was profound. Right, we don't want to be too caught up in our mind that we start overthinking, that we get caught up in, oh, but how is this going to happen? Oh, worry, especially since we talked about before, the need for patience, where we're building the momentum, but the snowball hasn't quite gone majorly down the hill yet. It's still like, it's starting to pick up speed, but it's not, you know, where it will be later on this month, and especially with the first couple weeks of March and beyond. But I think especially for the first couple weeks of March, there's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. But that was for another time. It can be really easy to overthink, and I think it can be really easy to have anxiety. It can be really easy to lose faith and to overthink faith. And faith is inherently illogical. It is inherently subjective. The mind doesn't understand faith. It doesn't trust faith. And to be fair, we need to balance these things. We don't want to have reckless faith, but we do need to have a strong sense of faith in what we don't control in life, which is a lot. As I always like to say, we walk hand in hand with the universe, with God. So we have free will. We can always control this hand, but the other hand is God's hand, or the universe, however you want to understand a higher cosmic intelligence that we're all connected to, and a higher connected love, infinite love, as I like to say. Infinite love means a lot of things, but anyways, digressing. God, the moon in Gemini. Yeah, we want to not overthink the faith that we have in ourselves, in what we're seeking to accomplish. As long as it's truly important to us and we keep at it, we'll make progress, and that progress will yield accomplishment. All we have to do is just keep clocking in, do the work, get it where you can, do the work however you can. It doesn't have to be, I set a whole hour aside to exercise, it's like, no, PP reps, let's go. Whatever it is, just get at it, be patient. And I think you'll see that as February carries on, it'll get more and more powerful. That momentum will continue to grow. As always, I'm doing readings, info in the description to get in contact with me. I'm happy to read with anyone. And, you know, I know some people are kind of shy and or they might be intimidated. I don't know why. I'm just a dude, man. I'm just a man, dude. But at the end of the day, to each their own, it's all good. So I do offer recorded audio and recorded video readings as well. There's several different format options. We can cover whatever you like in any kind of reading format. So feel free to check that out. It's in the description, the link to my website. And besides that, infinite love to you, my friends. Namaste. Peace and pee-pee reps.